Okay, game. So, isang mapagpalang araw sa inyo lahat and welcome sa pilot episode ng aking podcast na pinamagatang Bagong Linggo, Bagong Knowledge, kung saan meron akong makakapanayam tungkol sa mga bagay na sa tingin ko ay hindi pa natin lubos na naiintindihan. At sa linggong ito, susubukan nating sagutin ang tanong na anong kailangan kong malaman bago ako maging pet owner? At ang ating makakapanayam natin ngayong araw ay una kong nakilala noong elementary and almost after 2 decades, isa siya na ngayong veterinarian. Let's welcome Doc Lemuel.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, kamusta na?
Ayos. Yeah, I'm actually busy with work sa ngayon. That's how I'm coping with this pandemic na nangyayari sa atin. Pero otherwise, doing good.
Okay, thank you nga pala sa iyong time.
No problem, man.
No problem. So, wag na nawal, diretso na tayo.
Sure.
Sure,
Let's do it.
first question. So, ang first question natin ay, ano nga ba yung dapat unang malaman ng gusto maging pet owner?
Mm. Well, firstly, pet ownership is a responsibility talaga. Let's just get that out of the way.
Okay?
Tapos, konting disclaimer lang pala, I may be uh, telling you guys my opinion pero that doesn't necessarily reflect all the values ng lahat ng affiliations ko. So let's
Okay.
just get that out of the way, no?
Okay.
So pero yun, first and foremost talagang ang pet ownership is a responsibility. Ngayon, anong ibig sabihin nun? You're taking care of an animal, may buhay yun. So hindi siya simpleng parang pagmamay-ari lang na inanimate object. What you do would affect the life of your animal. So, ang pinakamalaking gastos dyan actually is more on the healthcare talaga. And then, syempre, yung pagpapakain natin, and then talagang providing yung quality ng life ng animal. And yun, it's basically a life that you're taking care of. No? And then, hindi mo siya pwedeng basta-bastang sukuan lang. Kaya, lalo na ngayon, magpapasko guys, hindi ko sinasuggest na iregalo natin sa mga ating mahal sa buhay ang isang alaga. Lalo na siguro sa mga bata din. Lalo na kung hindi natin sila tutulungang mag-alaga dun sa dog. Kasi a lot of the times, baka ma-abandon lang sila and then they could actually suffer. No? So, before you get a pet, make sure na kayang panindigan. You have the capacity din to do so. I mean, I'm not telling you guys this dahil sa kumbaga parang looking down on you guys, pero hindi naman this is making sense kumbaga.
Okay.
Kasi ayun nga, kasi kapag nagkasakit yan and then we don't have the means to get the animal checked, magsasuffer yung animal, no? So ayun, talagang it's a responsibility first and foremost, and everything that it entails, we have to deal with it, no? So yun.
So, kaya ako natanong nga kasi napansin ko karamihan nabibigla. Ang laki pala ng gastos pag nag-aalaga ng hayop. Kasi normally,
Yes.
normally yung mga inaalagaan lang natin dati, yung mga askal, tapos okay na kung pakainin mo ng
Oo.
tira-tira. Pero pag nag-alaga ka
Technically,
na pala,
matibay yung mga yun eh.
pero pag nag-alaga ka na pala ng may breed, Diyos ko, magkasakit lang
Yeah,
ng minsan, buong sweldo sa isang buwan mawawala sa'yo.
that's true. Minsan, libo talaga, man. Tens of thousands, umaabot din yung bill. Kaya, actually ngayon, if you guys need to, I think merong isang company ngayon na nag-o-offer ng pet insurances, same as with the people.
Okay.
So, pag alam mo, nagkasakit sila, I think meron kayong makukuha na claims if ever ganun man. So, I mean, if you want to really take care of your animal and make sure that they have the best life, I would suggest na getting them an insurance din sa ngayon. Mostly sa first world countries talaga siya uso. Kasi, you know, being a third world country, gets ko rin naman na animal health is not really one of the priorities of the masses. Pero yun, if you have the ability to do so, if you have the means, why not get some?
Okay. So, maiba tayo ng tanong. So, simulan natin sa mula tuta ba yun? Wait lang,
Yun.
sorry. Ranking pets from lowest maintenance to highest maintenance. So, meron bang ganun? O lahat sila high maintenance sa
Ah,
mga alaga?
sa experience ko, and then I think sa experience din ng general public, wala talagang highest maintenance na breed. Bale, it's just dalawa. Sa tingin ko, sa tingin ko, dalawa lang yan. Aspin, and then my breed.
Okay.
Yung Aspin, they're really hardy and resilient animals. Sobrang, pero that doesn't mean na hindi mo na sila alagaan dahil matibay sila.
Okay.
Pero bawat breed kasi meron silang kani-kanilang predilections na tinatawag. Ibig sabihin, mas susceptible silang makakuha ng certain diseases kumpara sa ibang breed.
Okay.
So, kung halimbawa, ikukumpara mo yung Doberman sa isang Bulldog, mas magkakaroon ka ng respiratory problems dun sa Bulldog kumpara dun sa Doberman. Pero yung
Mm,
since mas malaki yung Doberman, pagtanda nun, mas makakakuha ka ng joint problems din sa kanya kumpara dun sa Bulldog. So parang it's just pros and cons na iwe-weigh mo.
okay.
And then if meron kayong specific na breed na gusto, I think years ago pa available na sa YouTube. Pero yung Animal Planet, meron silang ginawang videos na hina-highlight nila yung different pros and cons, lahat ng kaya mo i-consider sa isang certain breed. So actually dati I was thinking of getting a pug. Tapos nung nakita ko yung mga what you have to be aware of kung ano ba yung temperament nila, kung sino mga taong gustong kasama nila. Even that, sobrang comprehensive ng videos.
Okay.
So, it took me into consideration and then after ko mapanood yung video and then pag-isipan ko, I just thought that the pug was not maybe for me. So, I didn't end up getting one. So,
So,
makakatulong siya. Just look it up. Tapos,
ah,
meron sa YouTube. It's easily available.
okay.
First
So,
search, bali yun. So, breed, Animal Planet, boom, you have it.
so kailangan talaga bago ka mag-alaga ng hayop, talagang i-research mo muna yung breed nila. Kasi minsan,
Yes. So, you
mali.
have to be prepared talaga. You have to be
Mm,
prepared.
okay. Then, next question. So, simulan natin sa mga tuta at kuting. So, may tama ba
Mhm.
talagang buwan bago sila ihiwalay sa kanilang nanay? So, ano ba yung may cons ba pag maaga hiniwalay at late na nahihiwalay sa nanay?
Mm. Actually, the earliest that I would suggest would be around maybe 2 months. Earliest na yun, at max. If
Okay.
halimbawa, balak mong magbenta ng puppies, earliest na naibebenta mo yung puppies would be 2 months. No? Kasi kailangan muna silang maalagaan ng mom. And then, medyo importante din kasi with their behavior kasi madalang namang manganak yung aso ng iisa.
Okay.
So, with the litter mates, yung social behavior nila, bale, how they interact with other dogs, mahalaga yun. So, kailangan na playtime, bale. With
Oh,
other dogs then of their age, mahalaga yun. And then yung making sure na gatas ng mom yung iniinom nila. Although ang dami ngayong milk replacers din sa market, kasi most of the time pagka ang aso is first time manganak, hindi pa sila marunong mag-alaga ng puppy. So, they end up na yung owners is nag-feed ng puppies talaga nung mga milk replacer. Bale. Pero if you're gonna ask me kung ano yung earliest na pwede talaga silang ihulay, I would say around 2 months talaga. 2 to 3 months.
okay.
The later the better kasi hindi naman issue yung paghiwalay sa kanila. It naturally happens. Kasi
Hmm,
they're animals. They have instincts naman.
okay. So, walang late na nahihiwalay sa nanay, gano'n?
No, not really. Oo. So,
Oh,
kusang hihiwalayan.
okay. So, next question, Doc. About naman sa kailan puwedeng simulang bakunahan yung mga alaga natin?
Mm. Yan. Yung ibang clients kasi namin I deal with, medyo na susuk sila bale, parang nagugulat sila bakit paulit-ulit yung bakuna.
Mm.
Kasi ang earliest na pwede natin, I would say mga around 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8
Tapos
weeks.
before that, kailangan ma-deworm na sila, no?
Mm.
So, bakit sila i-deworm? May tuta pa lang naman sila, tapos hindi naman sila lumalabas ng bahay, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Meron kasing worm na pwedeng mapasa yung mom dun sa bata. So, that's what we have to deal with, no?
Mm.
And then, yung vaccinations natin, kailangan kasi natin yung immune system ng animal to be working at peak efficiency. Ibig sabihin, kapag ka merong worms yung puppy, challenge ng immune system niya at that time. So,
Okay.
pag binakunahan natin siya, pwedeng manghina siya, and then pwede pang hindi gumana yung vaccine. So, parang talong-talo ka naman dun. Ngayon, merong protocol internationally na after every 3 weeks, saka mo sila babakunahan ng babakunahan up until mag-reach sila ng 16 weeks or 4 months. And then, at that time, pwede mo nang ibakuna yung anti-rabies. No? So, bakit
Ah.
ganun? Bakit kailangan mo maghintay ng 16 weeks bago ka mag-anti-rabies? Meron kasi tayong tinatawag na maternal antibodies. No? So, ibig sabihin, yung aim kasi ng vaccination natin is for the puppy to make antibodies. So, yung antibodies, sila yung bahala dun sa virus, sila yung lalaban dun. And, to help with the puppy kasi, yung nanay, nagpa-pass down din ng antibodies. So, kapag nagbakuna ka ng masyadong maaga, papatayin ng antibodies ng nanay or yung maternal antibodies na tinatawag, yung vaccine. So, mawawalan siya ng bisa. Hence,
Mm.
kailangan siyang paulit-ulitin kasi there's really no way for us to know, practically speaking, kung kailan nawawala yung maternal antibodies. Basta, sure natin, 16 weeks, wala na yun.
Okay.
Okay?
So,
Kaya
okay.
kailangan natin siyang paulit-ulitin.
Okay. So, okay lang ba na late magpabakuna yung aso?
Hindi ko sasabihin okay lang. Kasi if halimbawa na dumating ng 8 months yung puppy mo tapos wala pa siyang sakit, I would consider that very lucky. No? So medyo
Mm.
swerte talaga yun kasi most ng aking mga nadi-deal with na patients na may parvovirus are not yet vaccinated even at that age or even a year below. So I think if you're a pet owner, you may probably have heard of parvovirus, and it's a very fatal disease sa mga puppies. So, ang akin talaga, kung gusto mo ng preventive na measures para unang-una, tipid, and then hindi rin nakaka-stress, stick to the vaccination protocol suggested by your veterinarian. No?
Ano?
And
Okay.
then, meron pala tayong batas sa Pilipinas na vaccinations are only to be done by veterinarians. Lahat
Okay.
ng mga breeders na nagva-vaccinate and then from other sources are technically illegal, and then pagbagsak nyo ng clinic, most probably, hindi yan i-honor ng veterinarian nyo. Okay? Kasi unang-una, hindi natin alam if yung vaccinations are stored properly, if tama yung amount na nabigay, and then if nabigay ba talaga. Kasi technically, hindi sila licensed to do that. Okay?
Okay. Okay. So, usapin na din naman tayo ng bakuna. Ano ba yung mga bakuna na kailangan ibigay sa mga aso at pusa?
Meron tayong dalawang core vaccines. No? Sa aso, ibig sabihin ng core vaccines, ito yung non-negotiable. Hindi pwedeng mawala.
Okay.
Yung una is yung 5-in-1. So, yung 5-in-1, ibig sabihin nun, 5 diseases in one yung pinoprotect against niya. So, ano-ano yung mga yun? Distemper, parvo, para-influenza, hepatitis, saka leptospirosis. All
Okay.
of which are severe uh, diseases ng mga aso. No? So, yung unang dalawang bakuna nila, kailangan nila is 6-in-1. So, yun is merong added protection against coronavirus. Kasi kapag puppies na less than 1 year of age, ang pinaka-probable na makuha nila na pinaka-fatal is both yung parvovirus and then yung coronavirus. No? So, yung coronavirus, not really that fatal sa mga puppies. Sobrang laki ng turnaround rate natin doon. But the parvovirus is what we have to be careful for. And
Okay.
then, Yun. So, meron tayong multivalents, no? So, yung mga 5-in-1 and 6-in-1. Multivalent yung tawag doon. And then, syempre, yung anti-rabies. Okay?
Okay.
So, gusto ko lang din i-debunk yung parang general belief ng mga tao. Dogs are not born with rabies. Okay? So,
Okay.
makukuha lang din nila yung rabies sa ibang aso na may rabies. And then, it goes on and on and on. Okay?
Saan ba
Hindi
talaga?
sila pinanganak ng may rabies. Pag nakagat ka ng tuta, wala kang rabies. Okay?
Okay. Saan
Ayan.
ba nanggagaling ang rabies?
Ang rabies ay pwede lang makuha ng isang aso sa isa pang aso na may rabies. And then, technically, sabi nila yung unang rabies daw sa paniki nang galing.
Okay.
Ngayon, medyo general din kasi yun. Yung rabies kasi, sobrang efficient niya na virus, lahat ng mammals pwede niya may effect. So,
Hmm.
ang transmission talaga niya is laway to dog, bale. So, nerves. Yun namang window of susceptibility ron, pag halimbawa, yung aso mo is nagka-rabies, guaranteed, within 14 days, it's gonna die. So, sobrang liit lang din ng window na pwede silang mag-transmit. So, yun lang,
Okay.
14 days lang. So, technically, you just have to be worried if yung aso mo is magkaka-rabies. Pag halimbawa, ay, nakipag-away sa isang aso, baka may rabies to. Pwede. Pero if halimbawa na bakunado naman yung aso mo yearly, you don't have to worry about it really.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Ayun.
So, mapunta naman tayo sa issue ng pagkain. So, pet
Oh,
food o kanin at ulam? Anong pwede, anong bawal? Kasi may mga nagsasabi, yung mga alaga daw nila nakatikim na ng ulam, pati kanin hindi na kumakain ng pet food eh. So, ano ba talaga?
actually, pwedeng mangyari din yun. So, yun. Ah, Pagkain, I would suggest na yung mga aso kasi, until they reach 1 year old, they consider puppies. No? So, for
Okay.
the first year of their lives, mas maganda na ang pinapakain nyo sa kanila is yung commercial food na puppy formulation. It could be anything, kahit anong brand as long as it's for puppies.
Okay.
Ngayon, if halimbawa, gusto niyo na sobrang, kumbaga, invested kayo talaga dun sa puppy nyo, I think the brand Royal Canin has breed specialized diets. So, puppy food for Shih Tzu, puppy food for Pug. Ganyan, meron silang ganyan. So, parang tailor-made para dun sa isang specific breed.
Okay.
Tapos, ay sorry, mabalik pala tayo dun sa isa kanina. Puro aso yung
Ay,
nabanggit ko sa iyo.
okay
Yung
pala.
sa cats, meron din tayo nung dalawa. Una yung anti-rabies and then yung either 4-in-1 or 3-in-1.
Okay.
Okay? So it's multivalent din yung 4-in-1 and 3-in-1. Ang pinoprotect nun against is yung mga fatal na viral diseases din ng cats. No? Yung
Okay.
frequency niyang pagbibigay niya is much less than the dog. And then may protocols din tayo dyan. Sundin na lang din natin yung ating attending veterinarian. Okay? So, yun, out of the way. Mabalik tayo dun sa usaping pagkain. Yun, pag puppy sila, kahit ano na puppy formulation would be okay. And then, I would suggest na siguro up until they reach the adult stage, huwag tayong magbigay sa kanila ng treats kasi sila ay namimihikan. And then, ang nagiging
Oh.
problem doon is mas gugustuhin nilang kumain na lang ng treats kaysa yung normal nilang pagkain. Tapos, bilang hindi naman tayo makakapagbigay ng sobrang daming treats sa aso, kukulangin sila ng energy. Ibig sabihin, bababa ng sobrang baba yung blood glucose level nila, and then magiging behavioral yung problem natin. Kasi yun nga, sobrang nagpipihikan sila, tapos baba pa yung blood glucose level nila, pwede silang mag-seizure. So, delikado yun. No?
Okay.
And then, pag sampa nila ng 1-year-old, adult food na kahit ano. Pag halimbawa, kanin at ulam yung pinapakain nyo, pwede, pwede, I guess. Pero you have to be aware na pagtanda ng aso nyo, since hindi sila ganun ka-tolerant sa asin as us, maaaring magkaroon sila ng kidney problems or liver problems dahil hindi din natin kontrolado yung fat content ng kinakain nila. Okay? So,
Hmm.
most probably, kapag yung aso nyo has been eating human food for years and years, malamang sa malamang may patunayan, and then meron din siyang kidney problem. Kaya talagang I would stay away from that. Pwede naman kayong gumawa ng home cook na meals para sa kanila. Pwedeng chicken breast na boiled lang, walang kahit anong seasoning, walang asin, walang paminta. Simple na kuluan lang.
Okay.
And then, starches. Pwedeng kamote, pwedeng patatas, tapos a little bit of vegetable, fiber, carrots. Pwede yun. So, mga ganun. Kung gusto niya ng home prep. Tapos, actually, marami na rin sila na lalaman ngayon ng pagkain. Human food na pwede sa mga aso. Pwede kayong mag-search ng mga home prepared na foods para sa mga dogs. Okay? So, madami yan. Pero, ayun. So, yun yung mga food na pwede sa kanila. Okay?
Ngayon
And
ko,
then
sorry.
sorry?
Ngayon ko lang Ngayon ko lang nalaman na pwede pala ang gulay para sa mga aso.
Yes, pero ayun, medyo pili lang din kasi I think they're allergic sa ibang fruits. Toxic sa kanila ibang fruits. Yung sibuyas, bawal sa kanila kasi hindi nila napaprocess ng ayos yun. And then, yun, kaya isa din yun sa mga risk actually kasi pag halimbawa nagpakain ka ng menudo sa aso mo, mas meron yung sibuyas tsaka pasas, dali yung kidneys nun. Okay?
Okay.
So, yun, nakakalason din pala yung grapes sa mga aso, natatamaan ng kanilang kidneys. Okay?
Okay.
Tapos, yun lang. Sa cats, medyo mas pihikan kasi yung cats. Siguro sa cats kasi hindi sila masyadong uminom ng tubig. Ano lang din, try nyo lagyan ng konting water content yung food. And then if napapansin nyo talaga na sa isang buong araw, hindi sila umiinom ng tubig, mukhang mas kailangan yung mag-wet food sa kanila o yung mga nakalata para at least meron silang hydration na nakukuha. Okay?
Okay.
And then, kung nagli-litter box yung inyong cat, ang rule of thumb natin sa isang cat household para normal yung behavior nila is number of cats plus 1. So, ibig sabihin, kung isa yung pusa mo, 2 litter box sa magkaibang pwesto. Tapos, 2 painuman din ng water. Okay? So, medyo weird kasi yung cat. Sobrang behavioral nila animals. Tapos, yun lang din.
Okay. So, next question. Paano ba train ang mga aso? Tapos, different ba sila sa pusa?
Actually, yung mga pusa, I've never heard of cats being trained. No, kasi sobrang weird sila actually. Parang hindi sila natututo. They just do their thing. Pero yung sa mga dogs, there are a lot of different ways to approach it. No? Yung pinaka-effective, I would say, is yung positive reinforcement. Kasi yung dog training is really hammering down behavior. No? So, kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga professional dog trainers, talagang paulit-ulit lang and then reward system siya. Meron kayong, I think, meron kayong pwedeng mabili online na clicker na tinatawag. So, how that works is, una, mag-hammer down ka ng behavior. So, sasabihin mo, sit,
Oops.
hotdog, ganyan. Tapos, hindi mo ako.
Medyo choppy.
Sorry. Alright, yan. Saan tayo nawala?
Doon sa training ng aso, yung ano yung binibili?
Ayun. Sige. So, halimbawa yun, pinapa-sit down mo yung aso. So, sit. Tapos, bibigyan mo siya ng treat of your choice. Maybe a piece of meat or kibbles na gusto nila. Tapos, i-click mo yung clicker. Bale. Tapos, as time goes on, pwede mong tanggalin yung treats kasi naririnig nila lagi yung click. So, command, click, then treat. Minsan, ma-associate na nila yung click as a reward. So, hindi mo na kailangan magbigay ng treat. So, yun na yung reward nila, click. Meron na silang parang dopamine hit. Although, hindi ko alam kung dopamine talaga yun. Pero, yun, they see that as a reward na talaga. So, that's how you train your dogs. And then, ayun, as for the other approaches, I think yung nabanggit ko lang kasi sa inyo is the, personally, I've tried it. Tapos, okay siya, gumagana siya. As for the other methods, I haven't tried it yet, so I cannot testify their effectivity. Pero siguro depende na lang din yung sa dog kasi meron din silang iba't ibang intelligences eh. So yung mga Labrador, they're highly intelligent dogs. If you compare that to say an Afghan Hound, which is known to be a bit untrainable, parang pug ganyan, na pwede ka mag-command pero simple lang, tapos potty train, mga ganun. Pero yung mga complex, I don't think they can do that. No? So, kung mapapansin nyo din naman talaga na yung mga K9 unit, mga Belgian, mga German,
Mm.
Labrador minsan, Retriever, that's partly because of their high intelligence. No? So, talagang medyo mas kaya nilang matuto, kumbaga, kaysa sa ibang breeds. Okay?
Okay. So, Doc, medyo dadakaw na tayo sa medyo mga sensitive na questions. So,
Sige.
ayan. So, katulad nga nung nabanggit mo na kanina, so, ano ba ang mas maganda? Bumili ng tuta or kuting o mag-adapt na lang?
Depende sa'yo. Depende. Ang problem natin sa pag-adapt is mag-a-adjust yung dog sa'yo.
Okay.
It could or could not happen, pero kapag ka ganun, you'd be helping out a good cause, no? Kasi most of the adopted animals are galing sa pound or sa mga non-government organizations na nag-help and nag-go home ng mga stray dogs and then yung mga inabandon, bale, nagre-rescue. Ngayon, parang yung pag nag-adapt kasi, although it's perfectly fine kasi dogs are very lovable and easy to learn din naman. Pero yun, if okay lang sa inyo na yung parang sense niya is a pre-loved na dog, then go for it. Pero ngayon, ang caveat nun, hindi natin alam yung entire history talaga ng dog. Tapos, from the beginning yan, bale yung mga preventive vaccinations natin sa kanila. So, yun. Ngayon, yun nga yung kaya sa isang konon, I would say. Kasi hindi mo talaga sila malalaman yung full history nila. Tapos, you don't get to see them grow. Eh. Para sa akin, laking part kasi ng pet ownership. Yung makikita mo silang lumaki.
Mm,
So, yun. Pero sa akin lang yan. Ngayon,
okay.
yung sa pag-shop, halimbawa, puppy or kitten, uh, you have to know that most of these dogs are from puppy mills no, na tinatawag. So,
Okay.
ibig sabihin nun, maybe it came from a mother na kada menstrual cycle nila is binubuntis and then nawa-wear down yung body. So, in a way, kailangan mo rin siguro maging aware sa source nung puppy mo. Kasi if you're kumbaga parang anti-cruelty ng animal, which is I think you should be, uh, kailangan mo i-consider yun. Kasi I think that's borderline abuse. Kasi if you see the state of the animal after a few pregnancies and then births, no, na hindi naman nila ginusto, medyo nakakaawa talaga sila. And then, yung health nila is compromised din.
Okay.
No? So, pero if wala namang kaso sa inyo, then why not?
Okay.
Who am I to judge naman, di ba? Tapos, meron din naman kasi mga nabibili na puppies or kittens na nasa lisihan lang, bale yung animal nila, tapos they just want to make a quick buck out of it. So, why not? So,
Mm,
parang sa akin yun, be aware of the source na pinanggalingan. And then, kung, kung sa puppy mill kasi galing yun, in a way, you'll be supporting that industry. Bale. And
okay.
then, yun. Yun lang. Tapos, so, depende na lang din sa'yo kung ano yung okay at hindi okay sa'yo. Kasi either way, you'll be supporting kung ano man yung industry na nagluwal dun sa pet mo, bale. So, yun.
Okay. So, with may connection dun sa anong yon. So, ano yung
Mm-hmm.
opinion mo sa dog breeders? Can they be a problem?
Hmm. Uh, Dog breeders are fine. So, I would say na it's a livelihood din naman talaga in and of itself, lalo na yung mga talagang nag-champion line, ganyan. But the problem comes when they cross a certain line, no? Kasi I think that their responsibilities as a breeder ends at a certain line. Ibig sabihin, yung, again, tulad na nabanggit ko sa inyo kanina, yung vaccinations, yung mga dewormings, ganyan, and actually giving medical advice to their buyers is bit stepping over the line na. Kasi that's technically our job. And
Okay.
then what it creates is a false sense of security na okay lang yung animal, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos, up until a point na hindi na gumagana, bale, na the animal is not getting any better. Tapos, dadalhin na sa veterinarian, medyo malala na yung state ng animal. So, it could have been prevented. It could have been easily treated at the starting point, kumbaga. Pero, could come to a point na it's gonna be too far down the drain. Pag dinala sa amin, masyado ng mahina, and then there's only so much that medicine can do. I'm sure everyone is aware of that, no?
Okay.
Hindi naman kami miracle worker talaga. If you bring us a dying dog, we're gonna do our best to keep it alive, to help it. Pero if it doesn't respond, we cannot give life to a dead body, no?
Okay. Okay.
So, yun lang. Sa akin naman kasi we could work hand in hand din naman talaga. Kasi, lalo na kung halimbawa, breeder ka na talagang knowledgeable about that breed, they could actually help yung mga buyers nila on giving talagang proper advice on what to do. Sa akin lang, we just have to set boundaries talaga. No? Kasi ang
Okay.
dami ko ng vaccination cards na nakita na breeder. So, ayun, hindi
Ah.
namin ino-honor kasi, again, we're not sure if tama ba yung mga nakalagay. And then it's actually illegal. Pero if you're a breeder and you're listening to this, okay lang yan. If it's livelihood naman di ba? So who am I to judge? Just be aware of the boundaries that you're crossing. And then actually sa amin din. So meron din naman kaming boundaries na hindi dapat i-cross. So, yun.
Okay. So, medyo may connection ulit yung tanong ko. So, paano ba malalaman pag may sakit na yung alaga mo? And normally, how much ang inaabot? And paano kung hindi kayang bayaran nung may-ari nung alaga?
Ayun. So, unang-una, paano mo malalaman if may sakit yung animal mo? Behavioral changes, firstly. Kayo yung nagpapalaki ng animal nyo, alam nyo how he is, how he or she is. Alam mo kung ano yung normal state niya. Kapag for some reason, ang hina yan, hindi kumain, there's a problem. Okay? Yun yung kauna-unahang nakikita natin sa kanila. Kapag hindi na kumain, pag biglang tumamlay, pag halimbawa, nakita mo, kakarating mo lang ng bahay, tapos dati tinatalunan ka, tapos ngayon, nahiga lang, hindi ka pinapansin, binigyan mo ng paborito niyang pagkain, ayaw kumain, malamang-lamang may sakit yan. No?
Okay.
So, lalo na, pag nakita mo, halimbawa, mga nagsusuka, tapos nagtatay, then definitely, that's really a disease na. Pero the first thing you would see is behavioral changes talaga. If it goes on for the next 24 hours, mukhang kailangan na natin siyang ipa-check. Okay? And
Okay.
then as far as the fees go, it depende talaga sa clinic eh. Pero I would say na siguro for a check-up, you should probably be ready for a consultation fee and blood test, no? And then, siguro depende nila. Maybe you could call the clinic beforehand to inquire of the prices para may choice ka din. Kasi, as owners, you really have, ito, kailangan ko rin paalam sa inyo na you have the right to choose the healthcare for your pets. No? Kasi kayo yung owner niyan eh. So, I would suggest na siguro before getting a pet, habang pinapabakunahan nyo na siya kay doc dun sa clinic niya, mag-inquire na rin kayo ng prices so that you would be ready, no? So, halimbawa, habang tuta pa lang siya, nakapag-ipon na kayo ng pwede niyang pang medical in the future, kumbaga. Okay? So, yun.
So, Doc, paano kung hindi, kunyari, sobra talagang nabigla ako, hindi ko kayang bayaran? Kunyari, kailangan pala ng
Mm.
surgery. Paano kaya yun?
Mhm. Actually, depende yun. No? So, depende din sa management ng clinic na pinagdalhan nyo. Maybe you could settle something for that. Pero sa ngayon kasi wala pa ako dun sa mga ganong managerial position, so I can't really speak for it. Pero definitely, hindi kayo papabayaan ng veterinarian nyo. If halimbawa, for some reason, kailangan niya na surgery or medyo malala yung condition niya and then you cannot offer the procedure, ah magbibigay ng relievers and reresetahan kayo ng gamot so that you could outsource, no? Para meron kayong option dun sa prices ng medication that your animal will get. Hindi yan papabayaan na basta-basta na lang. Halimbawa, ay, wala akong mabayad, sige, alis ka na. Nang wala man lang binibigay, hindi ka man lang tinutulungan. That's not gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. Okay?
Okay.
So, in a sense, we're buying some time, bale. Pero what you have to know is that yung mga relievers na ganyan, no, halimbawa mga pain reliever, anti-inflammatory, it's just gonna hold off the disease for some time. The disease is still going on. It could harm your patient further, no? So, kapag ka ine-extend natin yung mga kailangan ng urgency, medyo mas nagiging tricky yung situation and complications could actually arise. Okay?
Okay.
So,
So, hindi ko pala nailagay doon sa list of questions, pero okay lang ba na kailan ba
sige lang.
kailan ba i-decide kung kailangan na ng euthanasia ng alaga mo? Or is that even
Ah,
pinapayagan sa field ninyo?
yeah, so it's a part of our what we do. No? Kasi ako personally, yung grounds ko for euthanasia would be if we've exhausted all possible treatments. Tapos, for some reason, hindi gumagaling yung patient and then ako compromise na talaga yung quality of life niya. No? Kasi most of the patients that I put to sleep are really old patients that had chronic problems na. Pag ibig sabihin natin chronic, yung sobrang tagal na nilang problema. Parang halimbawa, pag nagkaroon kasi ng kidney problem yung animal, hindi na kasi yun nare-restore. Depende din sa damage.
Okay.
So, they're gonna deal with it for the rest of their lives. And then, it's gonna come to a point na yung body nila cannot compensate to the damage anymore. Okay?
Okay.
So, yung euthanasia is just done kapag talagang sobrang compromised na ng quality of life ng animal. Hindi na nakakatayo, hindi na nakakain, gulay na. And then yung all the treatment options that we have are already exhausted, no? So yun, ang tingin ko is grounds na for euthanasia. Kasi if say for example that your pet has lived with you for 16, 17 years, and then sobrang nahihirapan na siya in the past few months, even if we're treating, we're doing everything we can, then I think it's only fair for the animal to end na yung suffering. No, kasi technically, naging masaya kayo for a very long time. And then, ganito, na nahihirapan na siya, then I think medyo mas patas naman siguro for the animal. Thinking about ano na lang din sa kanya. I think it's gonna be a bit fair if we end na yung suffering, no? So, yun.
Okay.
Ang tingin kong grounds ng euthanasia. Pero
Okay.
if halimbawa, ito pa pala, isang kino-consider ko na putting to sleep a perfectly healthy animal is pag super aggressive niya and then uh, nakaka-harm na siya talaga ng mga tao sa surroundings niya. Okay? Pag halimbawa, may lumapit sa akin na, Dok, pwede ba nating tutulugin na lang yung alaga ko kasi ang dami niyang nakagat? Parang ganun, sobrang aggressive. Then I would consider it kasi if pauwiin ko yun nang wala akong ginagawa tapos may na-harm siyang bata, that's gonna be on me.
Hmm.
So, isa din yun. Kasi first and foremost, they exist naman to be our companions. And then, mm, human life pa rin talaga above anything else. No? So,
Yes.
yun.
So, next question, Doc. May nakikita kasi ako sa internet yung mga tinatanggalan ng balls. So, yung
Hmm.
castration, kailangan ba talaga yun?
If wala kang balak mag-breed ng hayop, if wala kang balak mag-raise ng puppies, more puppies, then, oo, for birth control. Pero it has to be done kapag adult na yung animal. No? Kasi kapag kinastraight mo yun ng puppy, hindi yan lalaki ng tama, it's gonna die early. Ah,
Okay.
yung castration, it could actually prevent a lot of hormonal imbalances that could fester the animal as they age. So, definitely out na yung testicular cancer. And then, kapag halimbawa, super aggressive tong animal, matutone down yung behavior niya. It's gonna gain weight. So, yun, to prevent anything, prostatitis, even yung pamamaga ng prostate ng mga male dogs, it could actually be prevented by removing the balls. No? So, if wala kang balak mag-breed or anything, get it castrated. Kasi if mamaya, kumuha ka din ng female dog tapos nasalisihan, and then you end up having 8 puppies in your household na hindi mo naman kayang alagaan, it's gonna be a problem. No?
Okay.
So, yun.
So, Doc, mga exotic pets, ano ba yon? Nasa area of expertise mo ba yun?
Not really expertise, pero kasi there's a lot of studying pa to be done and I've only been a veterinarian for so long. Not really an expertise, pero I know some stuff.
Yan.
I deal with exotic animals din from
So,
time to time.
so kailangan ba ng permit pag mag-aalaga na ka ng exotic animal?
Definitely, oo. Lalo na yung mga ini-import, you have to secure permits from buy. I'm not really sure kung ano-ano yung mga papeles na necessary, pero definitely there are. And then kapag halimbawa, kasi as far as I know, pagka endemic yung animal, halimbawa sa Pilipinas lang naman nakikita, you can keep that as pets.
Oh.
Tapos, ayun, medyo slippery slope kasi itong discussion na to kasi it's gonna go a lot into the illegal wildlife
Mm.
procurement, bale. Pero, just be aware na lang, just be careful no, if you're, kasi medyo common kasi yung animal smuggling. I'm sure you've seen this on the news. Hmm?
Yung mga
I think yung mga nilalagay sa bote and all that, mga sinasmuggle sa plane, I'm pretty sure you've seen those naman.
mm,
Tapos last year lang, nabalitaan mo, medyo big news kasi yun, yung almost 1,500 turtles that they tried to smuggle in the airport. I've seen all those turtles kasi, tapos napapunta sila dun sa rescue center na rotation kami, bali. And then, ang dami nila. So, yun, definitely kailangan mo talaga ng permits when you're getting exotic animals, no? And then, pero kapag hindi naman endangered, halimbawa yung mga sunconure, mga budgies, lovebird, pwede mo naman yung bilhin sa pet store, walang problema. Tapos mga hamster, and then rabbits, hedgehogs even. Ang medyo kailangan mong consider yung mga papeles is mga birds na exotic talaga. As in, yung mga ini-import galing ibang bansa. And then the lizards, no? The reptiles. Kapag halimbawa mga tortoises from other countries din, yun, definitely kailangan ng permits to handle those. No?
okay. So, ayan. Medyo malapit na tayo matapos. And mga last questions na siguro to, Doc. So, baka may mga makakarinig tapos magiging interested sila na maging vet. Anong mga maibibigay mong payo para sa kanila?
Ganito. If gusto mong mag-vet dahil you don't want to deal with people, uh, you're wrong. No? Kasi animals can talk. And then, you're gonna end up talking to a lot of people din. No? Kasi I know some people na, yeah, I'd rather deal with animals. I'm gonna be a vet. Well, partly that's true, pero you cannot treat the animal properly if you don't know the history. And then, the history, where do you get it? From the owner. The owner is 100% of the time is a person. So,
Mm,
yun. And then, siguro be willing na lang din kasi veterinary medicine is medicine. So, medyo mahirap siya at busisi. So, I think, ano naman, general naman yun sa college na a lot of this goes into passion talaga. If you're really passionate about animals, kasi ano naman to veterinary medicine is more than just dogs and cats. It actually goes into agriculture, wildlife, mga ganyan. I suggest na, di ba, gusto mo maging veterinarian and then you find the cause, no, na gusto mo. Kung saan yung purpose mo. It's perfectly fine kung halimbawa nagsa-start ka na tapos hindi mo pa alam kung ano field yung gusto mo. It happens a lot of the time. Sobrang dalang ng mga tao na first year pa lang, alam na nila kung ano yung gusto nilang gawin. Sobrang dalang yan. So, I suggest na if mag-vet ka, go lang. Why not, di ba? So, pero you have to keep in mind that certain fields of this industry has, ano din, pros and cons, bale. So, it's just weighing those pros and cons and then kung ano yung mga principles na hinuhold mo sa sarili mo. And then kung ano yung mga willing kang i-take or and then I'm sure malalaman mo naman yan as you go. Pero what I can tell you is it's very fun. Sobrang masaya siya. At least for me.
Okay.
So, yun. If you're up for the challenge, why not? It's gonna pay off.
Okay. So, ayan. Nasa closing na tayo. Doc, ano ba? May mga nakalimutan ba tayong pag-usapan? O
I think that's it.
Mm,
If ano na naman, consideration bago tayo maging pet owner. So, yun. I think we've discussed everything naman na. No?
mm. So, meron ka bang gustong i-plug or gusto mo bang
Not
tawag doon?
really. No.
Wala na.
Wala naman.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc, sa pagpapa-unlock. First time.
Sure.
So, sorry kung
You're welcome.
medyo junky ang ating interview.
No, it's fine, man. It's fine. No problem.
Okay.
Very maganda yung questions kasi we get to discuss and cover actually everything that we have to consider. So, yeah, it's a very nice interview then.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc. And sana maulit if may pwede pa tayong pag-usapan.
Sure. Sige. If gusto mo ng part 2, just hit me up then.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.